Let's go. It's the first of Azar. And it's 1 in the morning. I started just after 1. I filmed this to share daily analysis. Robot analysis offers a unique style. I convey my market observations to you. It's unconventional. Many analyses on YouTube and other platforms, foreign and local, just draw support resistance lines and predict trends. I differ. I read credible TradingView analyses and use my tools to form my unique conclusions. The way I follow the news and observe the financial market, I try to convey that to you. It's not very conventional. I see a lot of daily analyses on YouTube and other platforms, but it's not common to just draw support and resistance lines and say if it goes up, it goes up, and if it goes down, it goes down. It's not like that. I read analyses from market experts who work on TradingView, and I monitor the market with the tools I've created, leading me to a conclusion that represents my own style. It has worked well. We're doing this right. Let's get started. This is an intro video. I read a series of analyses by real market people who work in biotrading and use tools I made myself to analyze the market. I come to a conclusion that this is a style of its own. It has worked well. I've gained confidence to say, we're doing this right. There will be many short videos. Let's look at the weekly Bitcoin time frame. There's a tool called Altcoins pattern. I have it and will share daily analyses with you. You don't need to buy it. Just go to the pattern section and have Altcoins pattern on your page. It shows various patterns. I'm not fully confident why these patterns work. I know they do because I've used them before. On the weekly charts for Bitcoin, use Altcoins pattern. I have it and will share analyses. Go to the pattern section for Altcoins. It shows patterns. I'm unsure why these patterns work. I know they work from experience. I'll explain their approach. Higher time frames mean more accurate analysis. 15-second frames aren't for analysis. Consider the patterns in short times. I'm not sure why these patterns work, but they do. There's no strange reason, or maybe there is, and I just don't know. I'll explain their systematic approach. In technical analysis, the higher the time frame, the more accurate the analysis. You can't do technical analysis in 15 seconds. Think about how many patterns you can find in that short time. If the strength is 1 in the 15-second time frame, in the weekly time frame, it's 105, and strength increases as the time frame goes up. We have a pattern called the cup and handle. It looks like a cup, and this part looks like the handle. When the price breaks above the edge of the cup, it rises by the depth of the cup. What does that mean? The depth of the cup means this much, right? Strength grows from 1 to 105. The cup and handle pattern predicts price rises by the cup's depth. Recognizing patterns is challenging. We'll see if it can be recognized. We have a pattern called what? Cup and handle. For example, look at this. It looks like a cup, and this part looks like the handle. They say that when the price breaks above the edge of the cup, it rises by the depth of the cup. What does that mean? The depth of the cup means this much, right? They take this from here, draw it, and bring it here, resulting in something like this. Now this has been turned into a cup and handle. It's a repetitive process where the pattern is defined. Now it can be transformed into a cup and handle because the human eye might not see it. If I turn this off, the human eye might not notice it, because there are thousands of different patterns. Over time, we will see if it can recognize this. So what to do? Who is Megan? It's easy for them to find this. The target is 124,000, with 107, 124, and 130 often in Bitcoin analyses. There's a barrier at 100,000, but it should pass to 150,000 and back. Bitcoin should reach 6 figures. Mark 107,000 and 124,000 on the chart. There's a mental barrier at 100,000 that's hard to break. We don't stop at 100. It breezes past to 150,000 and back. Bitcoin is expected to reach 6 figures. Let's mark the 3 numbers on the chart. For 107, click to specify the price, like 107,000. Also, 124,000 and 130,000 are key numbers. Check the weekly time frame for 124. But these 3 numbers, let's mark them on the chart. For 107, you can click on it. To specify the price, 107,000, let's duplicate that. And also 124,000, often seen in analyses. We often hear about 130,000 in the analyses. These 3 numbers are the ones to keep in mind. Based on this, we should look at the weekly time frame for 124. Let's take a look at the lower time frame, the daily, to see what it tells us. The daily time frame doesn't have any patterns, and I checked the 12-hour time frames. These are the time frames I usually analyze, which is my own style. The sound hasn't decreased much. I haven't recorded a video with this microphone in a long time. A good friend gifted it to us as a present from Amsterdam. We often hear about 130,000 in the analyses. These three numbers are the ones to keep in mind. Now, based on this, we should look at the weekly time frame for 124. Let's examine the daily time frame for patterns. The daily doesn't show any, but the 12-hour frames do. One pattern looks like a flag, but becomes a triangle. It rises, forms a shape, then rises again, showing an upward trend. This pattern suggests a bullish target above, not below. It ascends, angles downward, then usually rises again, indicating bullish targets. 4. One of these patterns looks like a flag, but it becomes a triangle here. So, the flag looks like this. Let me draw it for you. The flag goes up and takes on a shape like this before going up again. This is the flag. I don't know what they call it, but it's also a sign of an upward trend. It goes up and takes on a triangular shape, and if it does, it has a target above. It doesn't have a target below, though. First, they go up, and then they have a downward facing angle, meaning they slope downwards. These patterns don't have a target below, because usually the market goes up, takes a break, and then goes up again. So these are generally bullish targets. They all indicate upward targets. This is also giving the same 17, do you see? I mean, these numbers that I told you are not very random numbers. So we had 124 in the weekly time frame. Here it is showing about 17 with a pattern that has the same bullish bias. Bullish bias. Examine the 3-hour rising wedge. If it breaks down, it signals downward. Bullish patterns break upwards. I'll illustrate. If price rises, then breaks down, it will break upwards. Upwards has a target, downwards doesn't. If price rises, then breaks down, it signals downward. Key is downward movement after rise. This is how the systematic approach works. If the price has come up from the bottom and then takes a break downwards, it will break upwards. If it breaks upwards, it has a target. If it breaks downwards, there isn't really a target. Currently, the price is rising, and these are breaking down. This systematic approach shows the price rising, but the downward move matters. It's crucial to watch the opposite direction during rest. Now, it's resting upwards, with a gentle slope. It usually breaks down. The 3-hour frame shows this. But the opposite is true upwards. We'll discuss these topics more. Patterns below 1 hour don't make sense. We're wasting time here. There are two patterns. One is a bullish pennant. After this, I'll learn more. I should have checked it before, but let's keep it casual. It's crucial to look in the opposite direction during rest. Currently, it's resting upwards with a gentle slope, usually breaking downwards. The 3-hour frame suggests this, but the opposite is true for upward movement. Patterns below 1 hour don't make sense. There are two patterns, a bullish pennant and a rising wedge. One targets upwards, one downwards. In the 1-hour frame, two targets are near 107, around 105. In my opinion, patterns below the 1-hour time frame don't really make sense. I mean, we're just wasting our time here. Here, we have two patterns. One is this bullish pennant. After this analysis, I'm going to learn more about it. Sorry, I should have checked it before, but let's keep it casual and just go with the flow. There's another rising wedge pattern. One gives a target upwards and one downwards. This has become quite systematic. In the 1-hour time frame, it also has two targets, one of which is close to 107, meaning around 105. But I think the 1-hour time frame isn't very reliable for patterns. The most important thing we have is that we're looking at the weekly time frame. Now, how long has this pattern been? 8 minutes? But I think the 1-hour time frame isn't very reliable for patterns. The most important thing we have is that we're looking at the weekly time frame. Now, how long has this pattern been? 8 minutes. Let's move on. After looking at patterns, I usually check out the analyses of others. Then I turn to my own robots, meaning I set my robots to make the final decision. Now let's talk about the news. Where do you find the news? When you enter TradingView, there's a section called Community. You come to Trading Ideas, and here you encounter a world of analyses that you can sort through. Let me show you this. But we'll bring you the envelope here. You encounter a world of analyses sorted by latest, urgency, or names like Payman. Why, Zanrox, it has analysis too. I'll show you both analyses. I usually check popular ones first. To analyze a specific altcoin, I search its name and check analyses. In upcoming videos, we'll learn my analysis style. For now, I'll assess Bitcoin again. Let me bring it here, out of view, and make it smaller. Zanrox. This one also has its analysis. I start with popular ones. To analyze an altcoin, I search its name and check analyses. In upcoming videos, we'll learn my analysis style. Now, I'll assess Bitcoin again. Let me move it here and make it smaller. Look, Mr. Payman drew an analysis with many lines. It's the rising wedge and bullish pennant I mispronounced. He drew and marked support and resistance levels. What explanations did he provide? He said that, let's not be here in front of you. I'd like to make it smaller. Mr. Pejman has drawn an analysis, with many lines, including a rising wedge and bullish pennant. He's marked support and resistance levels. He predicts Bitcoin won't exceed 93,000, an important resistance level. His analysis from 2 days ago suggests taking a short position until it drops to around 826. He provided targets at 9,100 and 826.70 and 825. Press this button to see the outcome. His analysis was accurate. He predicted a decline, saying that Bitcoin wouldn't go above 93,000 and a bit more. He mentioned that it's an important resistance level, stating it wouldn't go above 93,000 and a bit more. His analysis is from 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was 2 days ago. He said it would reach this point and we should take a short position until around 826. He also provided 2 targets, one at 9,100 and another at 826.70 and one at 825. These were his targets for the short signal he provided. Now if you press this button, we can see what actually happened. His analysis hit the nail on the head. Exactly the opposite of what he said. He said it would reach this point and we should take a short position until around 826. He also provided 2 targets, one at 901 and another at 826.70 and one at 825. These were his targets for the short signal he provided. Now if you press this button, we can see what actually happened. His analysis hit the nail on the head. Exactly. Contrary to what was said, not at all. This resistance has turned into support. Our friend's analysis faced challenges. He posts daily analyses. Not all targets hit, but he avoids daily stops. He used Fibonacci, reaching the 107th level. He counted waves with Elliott, suggesting the 107th level as a target for December 24th. Today is November 21st, so we have about 10 days left. He explained this was the next or prior analysis. He analyzed using Fibonacci, reached the 107th level. We had that 107th level on our chart too. It was a target approaching in the 12-hour or daily time frame. In 4-hour time, a buy pattern reached the 107th level. He used Fibonacci and reached the 107th level. Let me read his notes. He counted waves using Elliott, saying 107th level could be a target by Dec 24. Today is Nov 21, so we have 10 days left. His analysis isn't bad. We might see 107th level in Des. He mentioned Mr. KuCoin quoted figures, saying 95% of traders don't use Fibonacci. In the 4-hour MA time frame, a buy pattern reached the 7th level. This guy used Fibonacci and reached the 7th level. He analyzed Elliott waves, saying the 7th level could be a December target on the 24th. Today is November 21st, so we have 10 days left. His analysis is good. I think we might see the 7th level in December. Mr. KuCoin quoted great figures, stating that 95% of retail traders do not use Fibonacci tools, and of the 5% who do, 95% don't know how to use it correctly. So 95% don't use it, and of the 5% who do, 95% don't use it properly. His analysis isn't bad. I think it's likely we could see the 7th level in December. He mentioned that Mr. KuCoin also wrote a sentence, quoting great figures, stating that 95% of retail traders do not use Fibonacci tools. And of the 5% who do use it, 95% of them don't know how to use it correctly. So he says that 95% don't use it at all. And of the 5% that do, 95% don't know how to use it properly. He also praised himself, saying he's been in crypto for 10 years and that he does everything right. He mentioned a short signal at 90,400 with targets at 92,480 and 91. His short position should have been triggered by now at 94. He has taken the short position, but it hasn't been triggered yet. I think it's at 96. So he still has some work to do, Mr. Doctor. But based on his analysis, he gave us a short signal at 94,500. Let's open one and take a closer look to see if it makes an impact or not. For now, let's just keep it here casually for the time being. You click on this, enter at 2400, and target 2480. Stop loss is small, likely based on previous highs. Let's make it larger for sound risk management. Adjust risk to reward for 2 targets. Bring it down to 2. Seems logical. Not exactly a ruler, but close. Set here. Enter short now. See what happens tomorrow. Stop losses weren't mentioned, but this case likely has a small systematic stop. For something reasonable, let's make it larger. Adjust the risk to reward ratio to have two targets. Set it here to enter a short position now. What was the analysis, Mr. Haji? Xanarox or something. After analyzing these patterns, I'll go to my own robots. The risk and capital management structure should be sound. We set the risk-reward ratio to 2 targets. We keep bringing this down until it becomes 2. Not exactly a ruler, but close. We set it here, and it says to enter a short position now. Tomorrow, we'll see what happens. What was Mr. Haji's analysis? Xanarox or something like that. After analyzing patterns, I'll use my robots. My robot is on Bitcoin, Team 45. I see it on the Ichimoku chart for a good entry point. For analysis, I go to Mr. Team 45. Wow, starting from the weekly time frame. Xanarox. I go to my own robots. Team 45. Ichimoku chart. Team 45. Team 45 stories are heavy. It takes a while to load. But be patient. The robot I'm currently working with is on Bitcoin Team 45. I see it on the Ichimoku chart because it gives a very good entry point and a pump entry, but if I want to analyze, I go to Mr. Team 45. Let's take this off. I hit it. Let's bring it over here. Wow, starting from the weekly time frame. The stories from Team 45 are heavy. It takes a while to load with our internet, but you need to be patient. God is with us. It will definitely load. How does Team 45 work? It's a combination of a regular channel that they call regression. Those who studied engineering know this. It's a method for predicting the future. The important part is the divergence, combining these two together, meaning divergence plus. These stories from Team 45 are heavy. It takes a while to load with our internet, but you need to be patient. God is with us. It will definitely load. How does Team 45 work? It's a combination of a regular channel that they call regression. Those who studied engineering know this. It's a method for predicting the future. The important part is the divergence, combining these two together, meaning divergence plus. It's a combination of a regular channel that they call regression. Those who studied engineering know this. It's a method for predicting the future. The important part is the divergence, combining these two together, meaning divergence plus. This channel is going to become something really significant. What has happened now is that the weekly candle price, which today is Wednesday, is going to become Thursday. So, it's the 4th day of the week, and it's firmly above the upper trend line. This means it's about to disrespect the channel we've drawn and wants to increase the slope of the channel. This is a sign that the upward trend is likely to continue. The channel is crucial. The weekly candle is above the trend line, showing an upward trend. Despite 35 candle divergences, RSI fell from 86.91 to 75, yet the price rose. Now, on the 10th of the week, we will be on Wednesday, Thursday, and on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 4th day of the week. This is pretty solidly above the upper trend line, meaning that it is going to disrespect, in fact, this channel that we drew, and it wants to make the channel steeper. This is a sign that the Saudi trend was going to continue. This is from this. But each of these errors has given us divergences over different lengths. In the last 35 candles, divergences occurred. The RSI was at 86.91 then, and now the RSI is at 75, while the price has gone higher. RSI has decreased. This is main bearish divergence where price is higher. Oscillator is lower. MACD unchanged. MACD was 8.2, now 64.06, also decreased as price rose. This is divergence. Stochastic is same. This divergence exists, but settings show another behind. Length 35 shows 25 behind. Visible on MACD, RSI, stochastic. The oscillator is lower. The MACD was at 8.2 and is now at 64.06, meaning the MACD has also come down while the price has gone higher. This is also a divergence. The stochastic oscillator is exactly the same. This divergence is there, but in the settings, you can see another divergence that appears behind these. If I take the length to 35, the length of 25 will show up behind it. The length of 25 will appear behind it. You can see the length of 25 on the MACD, RSI, and stochastic. There's a divergence, suggesting a possible reversal, but I don't trust this time frame now. Why? My 45-minute strategy relies on trend lines and divergences, usually needing 3 or more. Currently, we're not dealing with a trend line. It's broken and risen, ignoring it. We're forming a new trend line, but its length isn't right. This line is based on 100 past samples. Now, if I consider it, it only covers 25 samples. What about 25 samples? Even with them, it's broken. The market is very bullish, so even a trend line of 10 doesn't justify this. The market is really bullish. In this 45-minute frame, the market shows profit signs. The daily frame still indicates market profitability. However, this point is tricky and shows on the trend line. This line is respected by the market, and we can use it to redraw later. Maybe if I look at the trend, it only accounts for 25 samples. Even with 25 samples, it remains broken. The market is very bullish, so a trend line of 10 justifies this. In this 45-minute frame, the market shows profit signs. The daily frame also shows ongoing profitability. This point is tricky, shown on the trend line. The market respects this line, useful for redrawing later. We will encounter this again. If I draw this, it might look like this. This line seems good. We should also draw another line that, the daily time frame shows the market's profitability continues. This point is tricky on the trend line. We can redraw it. If I draw this, it might look like this. Draw another line. If it interacts systematically, I'll explain later. If I draw this, it might look like this. Draw another line. If it interacts systematically, I'll explain later. Let's draw them to see what happens. The trend continues. Prices hit highs. Based on the 45-minute team, no entry points now. If a system like this can interact, this style of drawing sparred lines is really interesting. These two lines are important. Let's draw them. The upward trend continues. There are some crazy divergences as the price hits all-time highs. I'm not taking any entry points right now. Our internet is acting up. Yeah, these two lines are important. Let's draw them to see the outcome. But we see the upward trend persists. There are some crazy divergences here because the price is hitting all-time highs. It's natural to see divergences in the 12-hour time frame. So based on the 45-minute team, I'm not entering now. Our internet is unstable, so I apologize for that. In the 12-hour time frame, we're inside the channel, and the crazy divergence might be a good entry, but only if the price drops to this trend line. If it goes above our trend line, interesting. The stop loss would be as analyzed. If it hits stop loss, it could give us a strong divergence near 95 or 900. Our internet is acting up, so I apologize for that. The 12-hour frame inside channel, and the divergence is crazy. This could be a good entry if price hits trend line. If it hits stop loss analyzed earlier, it could give strong divergence around 95, maybe 900. If it comes in next 12 hours or a bit higher, like 96 or 97, and reaches that level in next 2 candles, it could give short signal and bounce back to trend line around 91. This analysis with 45-minute team is likely. Let's see what happens in next day or two. If we get 1 or 2 12-hour candles, this could be a good analysis. Keep this in mind for 12-hour frame. If it comes in 12 hours, if not, for example, a higher dose of Navid and a bottle of it, no. Between these two, if it gets here in the next 2 candles, it could give us a short signal. Bounce to trend line near 91. This 45-minute analysis is likely. Let's see tomorrow or day after. 1 or 2 12-hour candles could confirm this. I expect the market to move to 4-hour time frame. It says nothing specific. Market is very bullish. Price in lower regression half. This means our channel isn't valid. In bullish trend, price should hit upper channel edge. Our channel is invalid. I'm expecting the market to go to the 4-hour time frame to see what it tells us. It doesn't really say anything specific. You know why? Because the market is extremely bullish right now, and the price has fallen into the lower half of the regression. This means that the channel we've drawn isn't valid at all. When the trend is very bullish, the price should consistently hit the upper edge of the channel. The channel we've drawn is completely outside of validity. You'll gradually learn this. The 3-hour time frame has the same issue, but now there's something interesting happening. It's interacting with the middle line. This middle line is also very important. You can see how many times the price has interacted with it before. When the trend is very bullish, the price should consistently hit the upper edge of the channel, and the channel should be valid. The channel we've drawn is completely outside of validity. You'll gradually learn this. The 3-hour time frame has the same issue, but now there's something interesting. happening. It's interacting with the middle line. This middle line is also very important. You can see how many times the price has interacted with it before. The 2-hour time frame. The 2-hour time frame, my dear, has been logged. Come on, brother. Why is the internet weak at 1 in the morning? I don't know who's downloading what. Maybe it's a problem with the VPN. It could be, yes, exactly. The problem is with the VPN. Let's just turn the VPN off and on again. Let's turn it off and on again. This one, indeed, originally came from this one too. In these 2 hours, you can do exactly what I want. That is, you can do it with a very smooth and seamless line. This particular guy drew this. What exactly is this detailed analysis of that guy? It absolutely can't be hidden by someone. Why is this yet another analysis? Let's draw it in a completely different color for us. This is indeed a very good analysis. Change its color to purple for divergent signals, draw arrows, and interact with the trend line. As explained on Team 45's product page, what is it? Google it if you don't know. Search Team 45 Trading Robot, and the first result is us. If no ads, click for videos and tutorials. Check them out. There's a PDF. I explain the strategy in detail. I assume you know this, but you'll learn over time. Watch these cool videos. It will reach here and bounce back. If it meets these conditions, it's a good target. 1 hour isn't my usual time frame, but let's see. The Trading Robot. Team 45 is the first result on Google. If there are no ads on it, you can click on it, and there will be videos and tutorials available. Check those out. I've introduced them, and there's a PDF and everything. Here, I explain the entire strategy in detail. So, I assume you know this, but if you don't, you'll learn it over time. Just watch these. They're really cool videos. This will reach here, and then bounce back. It's likely interacting with the trend line. The upward trend is likely to continue. After it goes up and down, it loses its credibility. If the 1 hour mark meets these conditions, interacting with the trend line and showing divergence, we can enter with a reasonable risk. For example, an hour ago, it gave me a similar situation here, but now it's interacting with the trend line. It's not that it's going to bounce back here. It's likely interacting with the trend line in a way that we like. We see some divergence, but it's above the trend line. This indicates that the upward trend is likely to continue. That's right, a red candle has formed, but the upward trend continues and goes up. That's why after it goes up and down, it loses its credibility. At that point, you need to see how it behaves. Now, if the 1 hour mark meets these conditions, meaning it interacts with the trend line and shows divergence, we can enter with a reasonable risk. Waiting to see what happens on the 2 hour and 12 hour time frames. I prefer the 12-hour one, and we check the weekly together. That pattern with the 3 numbers, 107, 124, and 135, is noteworthy. Initially, boost confidence. We don't need a VPN. Look at us, come on. VPN works now, and the 3 numbers 107, 124, and 135 are our focus. Let's see how it goes. A signal was, we should enter at 114 targeting 112 and 111. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for being with us. Now the VPN is working. Let's keep in mind the 3 numbers, 107, 124, and 135. Let's see how it goes. One signal that this guy gave was that he said we should enter at 114 with a target of 112 and 111. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for being with us.